be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. You know, with all the stuff going on, it's kind of hard to say that, but, you know, we'll try to keep the positivity, right? We'll try to keep the positivity as possible, as much as possible. Michael Hasser, welcome. New tariffs were inflationary. Yep, they're here, and we're going to talk about it. Can't Echo Wrestler Dragon can't stick around much, but wanted to post us. Thank you, appreciate it. Dysentery cases are on the rise. 40 new cases in Portland reported in January. Welcome to the Oregon Trail. Yep. I was never very good at that game. So, yeah. I don't like our chances given, I don't like our chances given who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services. I'm positive we're fine. Well, we're here. All right, folks, let's kind of breeze through this because we got some bad weather coming our way in a few hours. Things are already picking up, so I want to kind of just get through this as much as possible. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support, and you guys are what makes this channel go. If you want to continue to support the channel, if you're on the YouTube, keep liking the stream, folks. Subscribe to the YouTube, and spread the word. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So spread the word, bring a friend. Also, if you want to support the channel directly, hit that exclamation mark merch and exclamation mark tip. It really does help us out. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the Substack and join the Discord to keep up with the channel. You get updates. That's how you get the best. That's the best way to get updates on the channel. If there's no streams or if there's an event, you can be aware of it. Join the Discord. Once again, thank you all for hanging out today. I appreciate it. Let's get started. Let's get started, folks. Don't forget also, this couple weeks from now, we will be limited on streams. I'm thinking maybe 1 or 2 streams on the week of the 17th. That is 2 weeks from now. So just keep that in mind. Let's start with this because I saw like parts of this in the Majority Report. They were going over this. Sam actually went on Piers Morgan apparently, but I did not catch the full thing. So let's check it out.
As a layman, when the USAID is exposed in the fashion that it has been, and all of a sudden we have this transparency that we've never had in my lifetime.
None of this stuff was hidden at all.
Why are those people so filthy rich? You don't seem to like rich people.
Benny Johnson is a Nazi, just to be clear. So, like, yeah.
So maybe explain why.
I can answer that question.
What does DC
You want me to
make,
answer it?
Sam?
As you all know, Republicans lately have been getting chewed out by their constituents at town halls, in part because of what Elon Musk is illegally doing with Doge, but also because these Republicans aren't doing anything to stop him. And it's gotten so bad that party leaders have told Republicans to just stop doing town halls altogether because they don't anticipate that things are going to get any better anytime soon for them. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is calling the people confronting their elected representatives paid troublemakers because of course he is. You know, there's no way that they're actually just mad because an unelected oligarch is destroying their government from within, so they must be getting paid from someone, either Democrats or George Soros or both. But whether these Republicans like it or not, anger towards Elon Musk and Doge is only going to continue to grow because more Americans are becoming aware of the fact that Doge isn't conducting an audit to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse. It is specifically acting to cripple government agencies that pose a regulatory threat to Elon Musk's companies. Correct. And it's also trying to cut money Congress already appropriated to finance tax cuts for rich people like Elon Musk. And a couple of weeks ago,
town halls are canceled cultured. Yep. There's actually a article that we have queued up here. Basically, like the speaker, get rid of these ads. The speaker has said that, like, officially, you should stop doing town halls. Okay, like it's no longer like a rumor that we went over last time. It's the Speaker of the House is telling them to stop doing this, which, like, yeah, that's cool.
The New York Times detailed how some of the first agencies that Doge targeted were the ones that were regulating Musk's companies or investigating his companies for violations. So this isn't being done to our benefit. It's being done to the benefit of rich people like Elon Musk and to our detriment. People are aware of this, and they're rightfully pissed off about it, which is why right-wing propagandists are now working overtime to try to obfuscate what's happening. And Piers Morgan brought on Sam Seder to debate the efficacy of Doge with two leading experts. One of them is Jillian Michaels, star of Jillian Michaels Fitness Ultimatum 2009, 2010, and 2011 for the Nintendo Wii and Nintendo DS. And the other is Russian-funded right-wing influencer and closeted homosexual Benny Johnson, who learned the hard way what targeted ads were. And as you're going to see, it doesn't go very well for them when they try to fact check. And I say fact very
I mean, like, seriously. Like it's like when Piers Morgan, like, does Piers Morgan have some kind of like humiliation like fetish? Like, no kink shaming, but like, seriously. I mean, like, he brought on Dave Rubin. And next to him is like Gary Stevenson, like an actual like versed former economist or former trader who is literally making arguments against this gross level, obscene level of income inequality and quite well, I should say, that the type of arguments that he's making is just like, he doesn't call himself a socialist. He doesn't call himself a left-winger. But the type of arguments he's making is just like the same freaking criticisms we have of capitalism. Carpet packs, welcome. They can run, but they can't hide. True. She's an ableist POS who fat shames and early and often. Oof. Yeah, Piers just wants the ratings. True.
Charitably here, Sam Seder. But first, Sam is going to explain why he doesn't believe that Doge is actually about eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse or government efficiency at all.
Audits are done regularly of agencies by inspector generals. The first thing they did was
was fire said inspector general. So, like, please, can we just stop talking? Like, I think, like, at this point, anyone who's like interacting with these people at this point, like, stop letting them even introduce the talking point of waste, fraud, and abuse, right? Because, like, it's not what's happening here. Like, if somebody's like, oh, but don't you want to, like, find waste, fraud, and abuse? Like, just move on from that, because that's not what's happening here. Clearly. He's making sensible arguments about capitalism, something between Marx and Keynes. Yeah, I mean, like, it's very well put, and, like, something that leftists have been making for a while. So yeah, I mean, like, they put that guy against freaking Dave Rubin, okay?
Fire all those inspector generals and not replace them. A. B. Audits that lead to firings within a couple of days are obviously not being done. The notion that this is about efficiency when you're laying off thousands of IRS agents, when it is well known that every dollar spent at the IRS returns for the government $6 or $7, you're clearly not talking about efficiency here as measured in any other way other than allowing wealthy people to get away with cheating on their taxes.
Correct.
I mean, I could go on, but there's absolutely no evidence that there's a single audit going on. To the extent that they've saved any money, it has been largely dismissed as clerical errors on their part, and we still have no substantiation about it.
And what Sam Seder is saying here is undeniably true. So to show you what I mean, let's look at some headlines. Doge's claim that it saved $8 billion by canceling an $8 million contract raises questions about its wall of receipts. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Doge secretly changes receipts for almost half of its supposed savings. Great job, guys. Doge claims credit for killing contracts that were already dead. Another one. Doge's only public ledger is riddled with mistakes. The figures from Elon Musk's team of outsiders represent billions in government cuts. They are also full of accounting errors, outdated data, and other miscalculations. Yeah, so to believe that this pseudo-agency is doing what it says it's doing is a joke. But Pierce sidesteps what Sam said and claims that they actually have found government waste. But first and foremost, they haven't found anything. They've publicized information that was already publicly available, and in many cases, drastically mischaracterized the things that they didn't like. Or they outright lied about them to justify their existence and to make it seem as if what they're doing is good, to make it seem as if they're discovering all of these scandalous things that the government is funding.
Yeah, another way of putting it is they tried to cook the books, man. Jesus
when
Christ.
You could just look to see what the government is funding. Now, second of all, it's not their role to eliminate what they view as waste, because that's Congress's job, and Sam explained this to Pierce.
You can have an opinion that it's squandered. I can have an opinion that it's squandered, but it's been appropriated by the Congress. And in America, we have actually both statutory, constitutional, and court cases that say the President of the United States and the executive branch cannot decide unilaterally that they're not going to appropriate money that Congress has appropriated. I mean, the line item video has been found to be unconstitutional. We have the Impoundment Control Act from 1974. We have Train v. New York City from 1974, which is a Supreme Court case which enforces that. What they're doing is fundamentally illegal. I mean, you may think that some of the spending is not worthy. I may think it's not worthy, but that's just not the way our government works.
And therein lies the problem, because even if they could competently do what they say they're doing, it wouldn't be legal because Doge doesn't get to cancel money Congress already appropriated.
Correct.
That is Congress's job. And this is why so many GOP lawmakers are
Bipedal meatbag, welcome. No one, just fix it with the Sharpie. No one will notice. True.
getting chewed out at town halls, because if you're going to allow Doge to just unilaterally dictate how money is spent, then what's the point of Congress? Why are you there? You should just resign if you're a congressman and you're not going to fight this, because they're basically taking the role that you're supposed to have. They're taking your power away from you, and you're sitting idly by and doing nothing. But I mean, it's so much worse than just that, because the New York City comptroller claims that Doge actually removed $80 million in FEMA funding that was already appropriated by Congress and put into their bank account. But Doge removed it from the city's bank account. So it's not just illegal, it is outright theft. And Sam is right to point out that Doge doesn't get to dictate how Congress spends its money, because Congress, not Doge, has the power of the purse. But this is when Pierce brings out the big guns, one of the experts, Jillian Michaels, who's going to explain to Sam that even though it's not supposed to be this way, she wants it to be this way, therefore it should be this way.
Jillian, you were shaking your head there.
because it doesn't seem that the government is working. As a layman, when the USAID is exposed in the fashion that it...
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? The government isn't working? What does that even mean?
has been, and all of a sudden we have this transparency that we've never had in my lifetime.
None of this stuff was hidden at all. None of this stuff was hidden at all. It's just that
so you're telling me that the average American knew that we were funding friggin' operas for trans people in who knows where? Nobody knew this.
USAID was supporting.
Come on, man. Do you really believe that?
Wow. For those who don't know, "Come on, man" is one of the most powerful arguments that you can use in a debate.
True.
Now, I love how her indignant response indicates...
I use it all the time, folks. This is a proven fact.
...that out of all of them, she thinks that Sam is the one who's being naive when she's the one who didn't know that you could already look up all of the things that the government was funding. And apparently, she didn't care that much because she never bothered to look. Now, the transgender opera that she's whining about was a $25,000 grant to a university in Colombia from the State Department that's documented online. You can see it. They weren't hiding this. Now, she clearly thinks that this isn't the best use of taxpayer funds, and she's free to believe that. But in my opinion, there are other things that the State Department is funding that's higher on my list of priorities, just personally speaking, such as genocide. In fact, I'd much prefer that my tax dollars go towards the arts than bombs that are being used in an ongoing genocide. But I mean, hey, different strokes for different folks, right? But the point that Sam is making is that Doge doesn't get to dictate how this money is being spent. They appropriated money for the State Department, and they spend that money how they best see fit. If Republicans don't like it, they go through Congress and they defund it. That's how the system works. And that should be easy in theory, since Republicans are in control of all branches of government. But nobody's pointing that out. Everybody just thinks that it's fine for Doge to illegally axe these funds that have already been appropriated.
Right. I think that, like, people, seriously, like, just in a broad general sense, maybe now less so, especially, like, given, like, the reactions on the town halls, but generally, I think that there hasn't been a critical mass yet of people that are realizing that this is not okay, right? Like, there's a critical mass that has there's there's too many people, I should say, that don't really understand what the ramifications are here, right? Like, to take away Congress's power of the purse is huge. Right? This isn't just like, oh, well, you should just let them do, the things that they're doing for, like, efficiency or whatever. Like, no, man. Like, people don't get it. Not enough, anyways, to build a critical mass, because if enough people realize what the heck was actually going on, it would get very 1789 France up in here. Incredulity is the best argument. True. Something about facts, don't care about your feelings.
But Benny Johnson comes in with a big-brained argument and contends that what Doge is doing actually is not illegal because of his interpretation of the Constitution that I guess is superior to literally everybody else in the country.
So I've heard the Constitution thrown around a lot here. All right, let's talk about Article 2 of the Constitution. The executive branch has a clause called the vesting clause. The vesting clause makes one single man that is elected by the whole American people the only position in the federal government that has the entire whole of the country elect him is the President of the United States, who is vested with the power to oversee the executive. And that includes congressional spending.
Nope. Not at all. Under no section of Article 2 of the Constitution does it say that he has power to do anything regarding spending. The job of the executive, right, is to make sure that the laws that it's to make sure that the laws that Congress passed get done. Okay, so if Congress passes a law that says we need I don't know, $100 million, right, for healthcare, then the executive has to do that, right? Like, that's it. The executive isn't there to say like, oh, well, I don't agree, so I'm going to stop this spending. That's not how this works, okay? It's literally in the word who's in control of spending, right? Like, you could read it, but like Benny Johnson depends on his viewers not reading the very thing that he's citing.
That includes the functionaries of the government, including the commander-in-chief. There are appointed judges.
That has nothing to do with spending, okay? That has zero to do with spending. Congress has the power of the purse. It is explicit.
There are elected at state and local levels, members of Congress, but only the president is elected by the whole American people. Now, I have a giant map in my studio. I don't know if your production team can pop me. There it is. This is what America decided in 2024.
Okay, so this is a disingenuous like map that likes to be thrown around in conservative circles. So if you can kind of see that, because it's kind of blurry there in the background. But this is a disingenuous map because as it turns out, and this is true, land doesn't vote.
In a landslide and with the popular vote, the whole of the American people decided to vest a single man, Donald Trump, to hunt down waste, fraud, and abuse. Because while
the president is elected by 535 people, true.
Maybe there are some type of programs that you might view as just. What I view as just is feeding the American people. What I view as just is filling the potholes, educating, healthcare, and the
exactly. So like this is how you know this is so like phony. Like if you really think about like what these if you really want to address hunger, why would you cut SNAP benefits, right? Why would you not increase food for the American people? Why is food a commodity? Like if he actually was interested in actually feeding people, he would be arguing for the decommodification of something like food, housing, right?
Even Congress just voted to cut food stamps.
And so
you can't make this shit up. As they're literally preparing a significant cut to SNAP, Benny Johnson is pretending like we shouldn't be sending all of this money to foreign countries to feed hungry people because we could be using that money to feed hungry Americans. Really, Benny? Because we all know that you would be opposed to those programs here too, to feed Americans.
Right. So it's just like it's such BS. It's such BS. Yeah, the red part of the country is way smaller than they have you think. Correct. Elon could solve world hunger by himself and still be the richest man in the world. Yep.
Why don't you stop pretending that that's what you mean when you say America first? Because you're full of shit. But apparently, everything that Trump does is justified according to Benny because he won in a landslide. In actuality, his popular vote margin was like 1.5%. And as for the map that he was so proud of that he pointed out, that doesn't prove that Trump has a mandate. First of all, turnout was 63.7%, meaning more than a third of the country didn't even vote. So that map isn't representative of the whole country like he says it is. It's representative of the population that voted. Second of all, most of the red that you're seeing is land, not people. So it's not a great visual representation of data. And I say this because when you look at the breakdown of the 2024 results by county, it doesn't look so red. But when you fill it in, of course it's going to look more red. But to better demonstrate what I'm saying, I want to show you a visualization of the 2016 electoral map by county. So if you look at it, it just looks like a massive sea of red with some blue spots here and there. It looks like the country is mostly just Republican. But when you look at the population sizes of counties, you then begin to see that the sea of red is actually more of a sea of blue with some red specks. Now, that doesn't change the fact that Trump won both the electoral vote and the popular vote in 2024. But my point is that pointing to a red map doesn't mean that Trump has a mandate. And even if he did have a mandate, which he doesn't, he still would be restrained by the Constitution like every other president. But Benny Johnson thinks that Article 2 gives the president dictatorial powers, I guess, and we're supposed to believe that that interpretation of the Constitution, that bastardized interpretation of the Constitution, is what we're all supposed to go with, because he's in a cult, and everything that Donald Trump says is by definition good. And look, I've got to point out how ironic it is that all of the America First people never have a problem with the fact that our government gives billions of dollars in aid to Israel. See, people like Benny Johnson take issue with HIV medication and food going to developing countries, or aid going to Ukraine so they can defend themselves against the Russian invasion. But the moment that Israel comes up, all of a sudden it's okay to give them our hard-earned tax dollars, and America First goes out the window. So spare me this bullshit about America First if you don't have shit to say about our money going towards a literal genocide in Gaza. But even though Sam has taken the time to explain repeatedly how Doge isn't doing what it says it's doing, Piers Morgan ignores everything that he says. It goes in one ear and out the other, I guess, and just pretends like the justification for all of these Doge cuts is to bring down the debt and the deficit, when in actuality, that's not what it's about. The cuts are intended to finance some of the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts for the rich that they want. And Sam explained this and offered an actual realistic solution to the debt crisis that they incessantly whine about. But odds are they're probably not going to take him up on that. Nonetheless, let's hear him out.
I like the level of debt your country's in.
I don't think it's as much of a problem as you do. But here we know the debt shot off like a rocket with the Bush tax cuts and then with the Trump tax cuts, and they want to extend those. And so if we want to deal with the debt, and if that's a genuine concern, we can go back to the time in this country where we had the greatest economic expansion during the 50s and the 60s, when we had a top tax marginal rate of 90% of every dollar that would be earned over $470,000. Today, it would be $3 million. And if these guys are very concerned about the debt and deficit, we have a way of raising that money. We can go back to the greatest economic time of this country. So if that's genuinely their concern, we have that power to do it. I mean, we're not spending, as a function of GDP, we're not spending significantly more per capita than we were in those years. The problem is that we don't have the revenue. There's been huge tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires, and presided over by two Republican administrations.
Yeah, but something tells me that these deficit hawks aren't going to take Sam up on that offer. But it's always so infuriating to me how whenever we talk about social services like healthcare and education and whatnot, there's always this conversation about how we're going to pay for that, and this assumption that we can't afford to pay for that because of the deficit and the debt. But whenever it comes to foreign aid to human rights abusers like Israel or Saudi Arabia, or more tax cuts for the rich, that same conversation never takes place, because apparently we can always afford more tax cuts for the rich or more money, for death and destruction. But when it comes to housing and feeding people, well, how are we going to pay for that? We've got to tighten the belts. We just can't afford to be recklessly spending money on all this shit. It's so hypocritical. It's so hypocritical. But I mean, regardless, it's still mind-boggling to have a conversation about how to pay for anything when we're letting billionaires and corporations get away with trillions of dollars in unpaid taxes, which is revenue that could be going towards the deficit that they claim to care about so much. They're just so full of shit, and it's infuriating. But that brings us to the climax of the conversation, where Benny Johnson responds to what Sam Seder said by stupidly implying that Sam's recommendation to raise the marginal tax rate back to 90% makes him some kind of an extremist, which just goes to show you that Benny Johnson does
socialism
not know what the fuck he's talking about. And throughout his smug screed, he's going to inadvertently reveal that he doesn't actually know the difference between a marginal and effective tax rate. And more importantly, he's going to try to back Sam into a corner, but he gets checkmated instead. And his response to being checkmated is priceless. Just watch his face after Sam answers the question that he poses.
I love it. This is my favorite argument I've ever heard on your show. I love it. Go to the American people. Sam, I beg of you, join the DNC, run for DNC chair. I'll do anything, okay? I want your ideas to be the ideas that Democrats bring to the midterms and to the 2028 election. More IRS agents.
Yeah.
Raise taxes to 90% of wages.
Yes.
I love it, Sam.
No,
How
not
do I get
90%
you in
of
the
wages.
chair, man?
90%.
How do I
for
do it?
every dollar.
How do I do it? Where can I donate, Sam?
Just send the money to me
It's the
directly.
greatest argument ever. You're right, Sam. You
Taxing
should totally
millionaires
have the
and
entire
billionaires
Democrat Party
actually
make that
does
argument.
quite well in terms of polling. And when Americans see what wealth disparity looks like in this country today, when they actually see the wealth disparity,
Yeah, we've seen
it's
wealth
quite
disparity.
popular.
It looks like a federal government that's $37 trillion in debt, spending money on total bullshit.
You don't know what wealth disparity means.
and absolute and total fraud. Hey, Sam, why don't you answer a
You
quick
can
question?
Google it and find
Why is
out what it means.
hey
Yeah,
Sam?
so like I don't know why, like the thing is with these clowns, like you can't let them run with this, right? Because like he's trying, okay, I don't know if this is like a if this is done on purpose, but like he's trying to run away with that, right? He's trying to run away with like saying that what Sam is saying is like you should tax like 90% of wages when that's literally not what he said. But he's gonna tried to run away with that, and that's like that's the thing with these people. It makes it almost impossible to engage.
Why don't you answer?
You have to like you have to be able to pump the brakes so that they don't run away with that. They're not smart. True.
Question for me. Why are the richest counties in all of America,
Blue.
the 5 major counties in the DMV right around Washington, D.C.? Can you explain to me what do those counties do? Are there some mineral deposits there I don't know about? Did they strike oil? Is there some type of rich
Pete, how's it going? Hell yes. I'd take Sam as the DNC leadership in any capacity. True.
Well, I can
industry
answer your
that's created
question.
around
I
Washington?
can-
Maybe you can answer
can-
me that question. Why
I
are
can
those
answer
people
that
so
question.
filled?
Like, wait, now he's running away from like the whole tax argument. We're talking about something completely different. Sleazy.
Filthy rich.
I
You don't
can-
seem to like
I-
rich
I-
people, so maybe
I can-
explain why.
I can answer
why-
that question.
What does DC
You want me to
make,
answer it?
Sam?
It's
Please.
lobbyists. It's
Yeah.
lobbyists like all of the ones that have been appointed to Donald Trump's cabinet and to political positions. Rich lobbyists for all sorts of these industries that you supposedly have a problem with. I mean, that's where all the money is being made. It's not being made by federal workers. It's being made by lobbyists. And those are sent by corporations.
That was thoroughly enjoyable. And it just goes to show you why these grifters hate debating Sam Seder, because what they think is a gotcha is an easy question to Sam. And the look on his face when Sam answered the question that
Like, I mean, seriously. I'm still like annoyed of the fact that like how good these people are at just worming their way out of like BS, right? Like, I don't know if they ever went back to that point about Benny suggesting that we want to tax 90% of wages because that is absurd on its face. I don't know if they went back to that, but like, damn.
he thought was so difficult said it all. He just laughed because, of course, Sam called him out for his bullshit, and he knew it. He was caught right there. Couldn't respond because his big gotcha amounted to nothing. You know, he thought that he was playing Sam, but he didn't realize that the controller wasn't even plugged in. So good job, Benny. You really showed him. But I mean, this is what frustrates me about conservatives. They talk about how corporations are bad, yet they vote for politicians who say they're going to deregulate corporations. They talk about how big pharma's bad, yet they recoil if you dare to bring up nationalizing these big...
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, they actually don't have a problem with that, right?
pharma companies. They'll talk about elites and liberal billionaires like George Soros while pretending like right-wing billionaires aren't also part of the problem. They talk about the cabal, yet pretend like Trump isn't one of Jeffrey Epstein's closest friends whose name appeared on the flight logs like 8 times. They are fundamentally inconsistent because they have no core ideology aside from owning the libs and hating on minorities. The reality is that the only purpose of the right-wing movement in this country is to rationalize and justify the barbarity of capitalism. See, if we increase welfare for the poor, that's bad because socialism. But if we increase welfare to the rich and corporations, that's apparently good because they're job creators and that's the free market somehow, even though so many corporations couldn't exist without government subsidies. See, to them, they support socialism, but they support socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the rest of us. But to keep up this charade, they've got to lie to us about how Elon Musk is actually dismantling the government out of the goodness of his heart for us. Not because he's trying to line his own pockets. He's doing it for us because he loves us. His heart goes out to us, as Elon Musk might put it. And while this robbery takes place in front of us, these same people have the fucking audacity to tell us that immigrants and trans people are actually the cause to all of our problems, when in reality, it's the billionaires like Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, of course, because they have to make that argument, right? They have to make that argument. Otherwise, people might start wising up that the problem is actually the capital class, right? So they have to champion these social what is it? I forget the term for it. But anyways, they have to champion these things, because if they don't, people might start looking at them. And it doesn't matter whether they agree with like the racist, hateful bigotry. It doesn't matter. They fund it, they support it, they encourage it, because it keeps the working class fighting against each other with all these issues, instead of looking at the billionaire class.
And the people like Benny Johnson and Jillian Michaels and Piers Morgan who licked their boots day after day.
Idea.
If the voters would actually start to value information and the truth, these clowns wouldn't be in power. How do we get back there? That's a good question. How do we get back there? Jesus. How do we get back to any like semblance of rationality? Just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Yeah, we're cooked. We're FUBAR, folks, okay? Let me tell you. We're beyond cooked. Hey, but we're all cooked here together, so that's nice. Yeah, cozy bonfire. So as you know, folks, the tariffs are here. They were implemented today at 12:01, and Canada has responded. Not quite sure if Mexico has responded yet, but Canada was very vocal about its response. To which Trump responded that he's going to raise the tariffs even more, even though he already raised 25%. So Canada raised 25%. So he says that the automatic retaliatory tariffs would raise it another. This is absurd. Okay, this is going to crash the economy. No doubt about it. So folks, get freaking comfortable with being uncomfortable. If that makes sense, because this is about this ride that nobody asked for is just getting started.
If they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face.
Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight.
Canada is retaliating after Donald Trump has launched a pointless trade war that is only going to end up hurting both American and Canadian families. So let me break this down with some highlights, including the fact that an Elon Musk company's contract is getting canceled. A $100 million contract is no more. But let's first start with how this began yesterday. And that is when Trump began to announce that the tariffs are going to happen today. The stocks tanked immediately. And in fact, you can watch that happen live as he is talking about how strong America is going to be with him. You can see in the bottom corner here, as the caption writes, Fox News displays a widget showing the U.S. stock market crashing in real time as President Trump delivers speech on imposing tariffs on American allies.
Phenomenal. Fantastic. Mr. Trudeau going out for the new Dr. Seuss movie. Come on, Trump couldn't being a wuss. 600% tariffs on everyone except Israel and Russia. I triple dog dare you.
So check out the number as he's talking.
Just bring it all down.
Talking here.
The United States has been taken advantage of for 40 years. The United States has been a laughingstock for years and years. That's why this gentleman is built in Taiwan instead of building here. It would have been better if he built here if we had a president that knew what they were doing. And we had a lot of them very bad on trade.
Yeah. Laughingstock.
Oh, the freaking timing on that was perfect. Groceries are going to get even more expensive. Yep, they are. <clears throat> 100% groceries are going to get more expensive.
Unlike now, right, where there is so much respect for America. If you talk to any Canadian, the respect that Canadians have for the U.S. and Americans now is at the lowest it has ever been. To vote for this man a second time after he was a disaster the first time. How can you possibly expect Canadians to respect you more when this is the kind of action you are taking against your friend, your neighbor? So it's universal, by the way. It isn't just Canada. I did a video on this a few weeks ago. Recent data showing respect around the world has dropped immeasurably since Trump has come in and just taken a wrecking ball to both Americans and the state of the world. But this gets to a point worth noting here. S&P 500 erases entire gain since November election, wiping out $3.4 trillion in value.
Nice.
So already off to a good start. Now, Trump, before I get to Canada's response, Trump is blaming these tariffs on a variety of things. So, fentanyl, I'll get to how ridiculous that is in a second here. But also, he took shots at Canada here over banks, saying Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market. Oh, that seems fair to me, doesn't it? Which is so ridiculous. As Michael Kempa points out here, fact check, American banks have chosen to do limited business in our country because of the robust regulatory system, which makes it more difficult to engage in predatory financial services.
Nice.
Why, after witnessing 2008, why would Canada want a banking system that is more American? Like, Canada got through the '08 financial crisis arguably better than anybody, or at least the vast majority. Why would we want to become less protected, more American after seeing the disaster that the banking industry wrought on American families? Just wild. Now, the other thing I mentioned earlier, he is using fentanyl to justify tariffs. As the Globe and Mail points out here, White House using misleading fentanyl data to justify tariffs. So this is a recent article, but you can go back when he began using this line. Like, I don't know how I saw a Republican
Take you seriously means to say, yep, we dumb. Toronto Dominion Bank, Canadian, is one of the biggest financial banks in Northeast U.S.
representative.
I don't know. This guy's a freaking clown, man.
On I think it was CNN today, using this point again. Oh, these tariffs are coming in because fentanyl. Canada is sending dangerous fentanyl over the border.
True.
Canada makes up just 0.2% of U.S. border fentanyl seizures, and this was before the extra measures that Canada put in place over the past month. Brought in a fentanyl czar, added border security. They brought this number down by 97%, so it's now like 0.01% or something. Like, it's just so insane to use this as anything, especially considering the level of weapons and drugs that come from the US into Canada. If you're going to use this as a measurement or as the reason to start a trade war, Canada should have started a trade war decades ago because of the amount of garbage that comes over the border from the US. But it's an insane point to use to force all these extra charges on American families. So let me start with the response from Ontario Premier Doug Ford. So this was from yesterday before the tariffs hit, but it's the same points he's making today. I'm going to reiterate that with a couple of headlines in a second. But this is, I gotta say, I like this response. I did a video on Doug Ford winning. I'm not a fan of Doug Ford for obvious reasons. He's not great on healthcare, not great on many domestic issues. But when it comes to the way he is talking here, his approach to this, I am in full support.
You have two choices here, folks. We roll over as a country and just let them run over us, or we fight like hell, like we've never fought before. I'm taking option 2. I'm fighting like hell, and we're going to protect Canada. He's underestimating the Canadian people, the resilience of the Canadian people, and the strength of the Canadian people. I don't start a tariff war, but we're going to win this tariff war. Right off the hop, I've directed the LC.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be honest, nobody wins a tariff war, okay? But anyways, it's just a fascist playbook to take small things and run with it. Yeah, because it feeds into the whole narrative, right? The country's in crisis, right? The country's in crisis. Look at all this fentanyl coming in and killing Americans. And it kind of ties in with the whole brown people coming. Brown people are invading. They're bringing drugs. They're killing Americans. We let enough fentanyl cross the border to overdose 124 people.
CBO,
Incredible.
We're the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world to remove every bit of U.S. alcohol off the shelves. I know my good friend, the governor of Kentucky, he's losing his mind right now. I said, you better talk to your president. Mitch McConnell, senior senator from Kentucky, they're losing their mind. We purchase over $1 billion of alcohol, 3,600 products, 35 states. It's going to hit them. We call them the kitchen table issues. Then we're going to cancel Starlinks right away from Elon Musk. Not that $100 million makes a difference for them, but it's principle. I've directed the procurement of over $30 billion of goods not to go to the U.S., to make sure we buy Ontario first.
Man, how bad do you have to be where you're pissing off Canadians like this? Like, how bad do you have to F up that you're pissing off Canadians like this? Not that, like, this guy is a good person or anything, but, like, man. JD ain't free. Welcome. Howdy, howdy. I very much resent Doug Ford as my premier, but I will admit he's likely the best choice for premier for the situation the province and the country is in.
First, and if we can't find it in Ontario and we can't build it in Ontario, we go across the country. We have 51 tariff-free agreements with countries around the world. Every retail store, when you go look at the shelf, Tucker, it has the price. We need to see a Canadian flag on that price. If they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face. So, and I'm encouraging every other province to do the same.
That last line there is fantastic. Other politicians that are better than him on the actual policies and issues should take note at how to communicate with voters. This is why Doug Ford is still popular, despite the fact that he has done a number on Ontario in regards to wages that he canceled an increase on, in regards to healthcare, in regards to lying about not giving up the Greenbelt to his corporate buddies. Like, there's a whole litany of
Doug Ford is a former, possibly current crackhead Doug politician, but he's actually stepped up.
Scandals and issues that Doug Ford's been involved in that I've done many videos on. But
my state gets energy from Canada. Oof.
I can acknowledge that the guy knows how to communicate with your average person. This is fantastic. A great response here. The encouragement, a lot of this was touched on, a month ago when we were first discussing the tariffs, but taking American products off the shelves, fantastic. In terms of energy, there actually is more specifics now on that. So Richard Sutherland of City News reporting, Ford tells the Wall Street Journal that Ontario will put a 25% export tax on the electricity it sends to 1.5 million homes in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York. Ford added that he will direct the province's energy producers to shut down the exports entirely if Trump moves ahead with even more tariffs on April 2nd, and canceling the Starlink deal. For real this time, I think, because he said it the first time, and then a day later he reverted when the tariffs didn't happen. Now he's saying it again. I hope it's legit this time. Even if the tariffs didn't happen, this deal was insane. And I went through that in a different video, so I'm not going to break that all down now. But it would have been wild to give Elon Musk $100 million when there are other options.
They're still going to bend the knee, mark my words. If Zelensky bent, so will Ford.
Options to...
I don't know. Like, Trump is really pushing it. Because now it's literally directly affecting the Canadian citizens, right? Like, you can't ignore that.
To deliver internet to these more remote parts in Ontario. But really good to see the ripping up of that deal. I want to get now to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's response.
Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariff.
So when did Zelensky bend the knee? I know he was there recently, but it didn't go well. Yeah, I mean, like, he was told that he didn't say thank you enough. So, yeah. They're regular citizens, so they can have themselves in this situation to all parties involved.
Tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. Starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion.
Yeah, Zelensky also said that he may be open to ending the war, which is just code for, like, giving up. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he's going to do that or not. But yeah, I mean, as Michael Hatzner points out, he's on an apology tour. Probably because, not many cards to play, right?
American products in 21 days' time.
I mean, the only thing that can, really happen is, the European Union kind of steps up, right? Since the United States is such a crappy ally, might as well have the EU step up. But
I want to speak first directly to the American people. We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and ad-free videos on the...
Yeah, I'm still not buying it,
So just
though.
on the speech alone,
Yeah, true, but at least buy his dinner first, Trudeau. No, that's probably on tariffs.
I got to say, it is one of Trudeau's best speeches, and he's not prime minister for much longer, as there is a leadership race going on within the Liberal Party. A new prime minister or new leader of that party, thus new prime minister, is going to come in shortly here. But there's a lot in this speech. I put in a bit here. I'm going to get to another clip later on that touches on a bit of a different point. But on the point of the retaliatory tariffs, a lot of this was already mentioned by the government before they were brought in, so people were already aware what was going to happen. But this, how long this trade war lasts is going to depend completely on how much Trump cares about how Americans are impacted, which is probably very little. So it's
not at all.
It's really going to
would
come down to how much of that is going to hurt Trump's image. So if Trump feels like he's not able to put enough propaganda out there to combat the fact that this is really going to hurt Americans, then...
I mean, like, I don't know, man. That's going to only work to a certain extent, right? But, like, there's only so much you can do, right? Like, people are going to feel that pain. They're going to see with their own eyes the prices, right? Like, you're not going to be able to hide that forever. uBlock Origin has been solid for YouTube. I got a paywall circumventer plugin too, and one for Twitch ads. I'm not sure what all sites paywall thing circumvents, but definitely Wall Street Journal and New York Times. I keep hearing uBlock as a common denominator, so maybe that's something I could look into.
And there may be some backpedaling on these tariffs, but I think right now, I would love to think that these tariffs are going to last, a couple of days. I don't feel like that's the case. I think this is something that the Trump administration is sort of they just want to do. And the excuses they use, whether it's fentanyl, whether it's, American banks aren't in Canada or whatever the garbage he's bringing up. Like, none of this makes any sense. This is simply something that he wants to do. These tariffs are something that he...
I just learned that under Mussolini, they tried to convince Italians that pasta was unpatriotic. Also, coffee. Yeah. By the way, like, coffee also is going to get expensive, which is going to make me really, really, really mad. That's going to be freaking annoying. Nope, we got a recession. I think so. I think that's in the cards. I don't doubt it. I think that's in the cards because, like, it's already pretty freaking bad. It's not looking good. Not looking good at all. Sleepy streamer. True.
Already wants to do, and he's looking for justification, for the media, but there is no justification for it. And they're going to sit and wait to see what happens in the wake of it. And if it's going to hurt his image...
Mess with our coffee and there will be problems. Biden's economy was barely propped up, and due to his actions, we are now in a recession. Checkmate, libs. True.
In a big way with Americans, then maybe there's some changes. But for now, I think they're going to stay in place. On that point, Adam Cochran wrote this on Twitter, and I discovered that he also has a YouTube channel, so I will plug that as well. Check out Adam Cochran on YouTube. But he goes on to write, Canadians are done with Trump shit. Instead of backing down, they've settled on $155 billion of retaliatory tariffs on the same day they've asked the UK for nuclear guarantees against the US. And here's the critical part. Most Canadian imports to the US are raw materials at preferred prices that the US doesn't have other sources for. Most U.S. exports to Canada are finished products that Canada has other sources for, even if less preferred. U.S. oil refining is 100% reliant on Canadian processing minerals. U.S. fertilizer, and thus U.S. farming, is reliant on Canadian minerals and potash. When it comes to trade, the unique relationship between Canada and the U.S. means Canada can punch far above its weight in how its tariffs impact America. You'd rather have $20 of generic Chinese tariffs than $1 of targeted Canadian ones. If Trump doesn't back down on this, Canada can continue to tighten the screws. And honestly, the political will of Canadians united in hatred of this moment and not wanting to be pushed around suggests that Canada's population is far less likely to blink first when compared to a divided, exhausted, and price-gouged American population.
True! Fantastic outlook, fam. Dinosaurs didn't have coffee, and look what happened. True. Uh-oh.
In wars, we talk about the defender benefit. In trade wars, that holds true as well. Having something worth fighting for and a unified hate of a common enemy is a powerful thing. And I have seen that. And that gets to the next Trudeau clip where, to my surprise, he brings up the booing of the American national anthem. And he seems to continue encouraging it, or at least not necessarily encouraging it, but not criticizing it. And this goes to how Canadians are feeling.
Canadians are not angry at the American people for this. We don't have anything against Americans. Americans are our neighbors, our friends, our partners. We do things together. We've done things together for decades and generations. This is a policy decision by the American government designed to go after the Canadian economy. This is a trade war, yes. But Canadians are hurt. Canadians are angry. We're going to choose to not go on vacation in Florida or Old Orchard Beach or wherever. We're going to choose to try to buy Canadian products and forego bourbon and other classic American products. And yeah, we're probably going to keep booing the American anthem. But let me tell Americans, we're not booing you. We're not booing your teams. We're not booing your players. We're booing a policy that is designed to hurt us. And we're insulted. And we're angry. But we're Canadian, which means we're going to stand up for each other. We're going to fight. And we're going to win.
Pretty good message for him.
That's right. We have the bulk of the potash the U.S. uses. You're effed. Don't buy Kentucky booze. Yep. I mean, even now, at this point in time, like personally, like I think that we should be understanding that a recession is all but incoming. So I would say that now is a good time to kind of just sit tight and try to save as much money as possible. I like Canadian whiskey better anyways.
Him to end on there. And understand, if you're feeling anxious, as I am, Canadians out there feeling anxious about all of this, focus on what
I have 2 distilleries within 10 miles of my apartment. Oh, you're good to go on that one. I wouldn't drink anything out of Kentucky.
Can control. Focus on yourself. Focus on your family. Focus on friends, local community. Don't get too lost in stuff you have no control over. You know, a tariff war, national policy. Focus on things that you can control. And if anyone in your life, anyone you know, may be impacted by these tariffs, maybe losing their job over it. Reach out to them, see how they're doing, see how you may be able to help them. Like, there are ways that we can impact positively in our own lives, in our own community, within our own family. And I think it's important for us to focus on that in this time. I'm seeing a national pride with Canadians that I have never in my life experienced in a real way. You know, we've seen, I don't want to bring them up, but we've seen the a version of this, not necessarily an honest version of this, but in the past. But this is real national pride, a real unity that I have never really experienced as a Canadian. We are going to get through this and understand that what is happening right now is temporary. What is happening right now is not necessarily what's going to happen for infinity. So focus on yourself, focus on things that you can control. We are going to get through this.
Hey, this is a really long-winded way of saying, buckle up, folks. It's about to get real. But seriously, buckle up. If this continues, this is not going to end well for nobody. I love British Scotch. I'm like mostly a rum person when it comes to liquor. Welcome, Lee Spanner, by the way. All right, folks, let's just get through some of these headlines and we'll call it a day. Rum rocks, indeed. I agree. Because we got some pretty inclement weather heading our way very soon. Liquor, I barely know her. I don't know if I said welcome to Bipedal Meatbag, but howdy, welcome. Let's get through some of these. Problem is, I've been buckled up for like 2 years, not sure how much tighter I can see it over here. We do what we can. I used to drink 151 when I was young. Sheesh. So we all heard that measles apparently is making a comeback. So why not? Let's go Oregon Trail up in this. Dysentery cases on the rise in Portland area. 40 new cases reported in January. An uptick of dysentery, the diarrhea-inducing disease. Try saying that as a tongue twister. Oi! Come back. Is on the rise in Portland, Oregon metro area, according to new health data. First reported by local outlets, Coin and the Oregonian. The increase in cases of the contagious gastrointestinal condition was reflected in new health data shared by the Multnomah County Health Department, which reported 40 cases in January. Portland is in the county seat of Multnomah. I'm not even going to try if I pronounce that incorrectly. My bad. Known best for causing stomach cramps, vomiting, other stuff, and killing off countless characters in the beloved video game Oregon Trail. Dysentery has been consistently on the rise in Portland region year over since 2012. So yeah, why not? Like, let's just add dysentery to the whole thing. Data released by the health department showed several general spikes between 2017 and 2024. Though last year's infection numbers of 158 in Multnomah County blew past years out of the water. That end of year number likewise represented a 62 case increase between 2024 and 2023. So cool. Has a bucket of Imodium on standby. Oh man. So yeah, not only are we getting measles back, right? Because sure, why not? But dysentery too. Cool. I can't get my characters to die of it. Trying to go for 100% completion in the new Oregon Trail game, but seriously, what the F? Seriously. Make consumption widespread again. The Trump administration has revised their directive to federal agencies on the mass firings. Interesting. The Office of Personnel Management issued a revised guidance to federal agencies on Tuesday today regarding the firing of probationary workers amid President Trump's effort to shrink the size of the government, informing department leaders that they do not have to take any specific performance-based action regarding those employees. The revised memo from Charles Ezell, the acting director of OPM, comes after a federal judge ruled last week that the Trump administration's mass firings of probationary workers who generally have been on their job for less than 1 year were likely illegal. U.S. District Judge William Alsop found that the OPM did not have the authority to direct the firings of employees, probationary or otherwise, in any other federal agency. The latest guidance from OPM revised the January 20th memo from Ezel that required agencies to identify all employees still in their probationary periods and send a report to the agency listing all of those workers. The memo instructed department heads to promptly determine whether those employees should be retained at the agency. The nuclear scientist thing was the key. Yeah, the people in charge of our, nuclear weapons. But the revised memo included a new paragraph that stated, by this memorandum, OPM is not directing agencies to take any specific performance-based actions regarding probationary employees. Agencies have the ultimate decision-making authorities and over and responsibility for such personnel actions. OPM said it wanted to clarify in light of recent court order and public misinformation. It has always been up to the agencies whether to take performance-based actions against probationary employees. Yeah, sure, bud. It's fine, they got this. True. Everything's fine. I just want to set the world on fire. The agencies, which their heads are now Trump appointees and are completely defunded, can't afford to pay these people regardless, but they technically don't have to fire them. Yeah. I just want to set the world on fire. Every agency should immediately rescind these unlawful terminations and reinstate everyone who is illegally fired, said Kelly in a statement regarding the memo. The AFGE is one of the labor unions that sued the Trump administration over its firings of tens of thousands of federal workers. The union estimated that there were roughly 200,000 probationary workers employed throughout the federal government. The federal workforce consists more than 2.4 million people, excluding military personnel and postal workers. After Ezel directed agency heads to identify probationary employees, Mr. Trump issued an executive order that instructed agency head to promptly undertake preparations to initiate large-scale reductions in force. The mass firings were a drastic move by Mr. Trump in his effort to cut the size of the federal government. The president established the White House's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to lead the efforts to shrink the government, and workers for the task force has fanned out across federal agencies. OPM also gave federal workers the option to participate in a deferred resignation program, which gave them the option to resign their positions but retain full pay and benefits until September 30th, something they can't really they can't cash that check, right? Because Congress has only appropriated money for X amount, right? And I believe, actually, the deadline is now, right? March 14th. But unions, unions are going to be illegal. The White House said roughly 75,000 employees accepted the offer to leave their government jobs, far fewer than the 200,000 it expected to take the so-called buyout. Right, honestly, seriously, how, knowing that this guy has an entire career of being a con man, would you take this guy at his word on a very legally dubious promise of being paid until September when Congress hasn't even appropriated the funds for that? Yeah, convicted criminal, incidentally, of fraud. Of the crime, incidentally, is fraud. So, yeah. Fantastic. The Trump administration has also targeted specific agencies, namely the CFPB and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, in its cost-cutting efforts. Mr. Trump's overhaul of the agencies, though, is being challenged in federal court. Cool. Trump says federal funding will stop for colleges and schools allowing, quote, illegal protests. What are illegal protests, you say? I don't know. Things that I don't like. President Trump said on Tuesday today that all federal funding will stop for colleges and schools that allow, quote, illegal protests, and that agitators will be imprisoned and sent back to the country they came from. Fantastic stuff. American students will be permanently expelled or depending on the crime, arrested. Which, by the way, last time I checked, Trump is not like the unilateral decision maker as to who is enrolled in college, question mark? Like Trump can't unilaterally be like, oh yeah, that guy can't be in that school anymore. But okay. Yeah, peak free speech. So that's not troubling at all. Yeah, the First Amendment. This is a gross violation of the First Amendment. But most universities, if not all, are beholden to those funds, so their administration will obviously do this. Yeah, that's actually a good point. This is very, very disturbing. If Trump can unilaterally exercise this kind of force, right, to tamp out protests on campuses, I mean, like, that's not very comforting as far as like how far this administration is going to go, because I would expand that, and I would say that it's probably not going to stop at colleges, right? Your ability to protest will probably not be, it won't just be limited to colleges, right? It looks like it's going to be illegal to be a leftist. We're all going to be labeled terrorists. It's already happening. I mean, I don't doubt that, like, that's what he would want to do. I mean, he's said that, like, Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization before. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's just, like, the speed at which this is moving, right? Like, it's now, like, college campuses that they want to, like, tamp down protesting. Mind you, the things that they are mad about, the things that they're angry about people showing up to protest, it is genocide, just to be clear. Like, just so we're all on the same page, right? Like, the thing that people are out there protesting on college campuses is genocide. That's what's irking this guy. So yeah, cool, fantastic outlook, huh, for the future. Oh, but if we had Kamala, they'd be allowed to protest the continued genocide, so there's that. I mean, yeah. Yeah. We would be allowed to protest the said genocide. It would just keep happening in a more tamped way. I don't think we escaped that part, unfortunately. We'd be allowed to yell about it. Good Burger, welcome. I feel like I've seen your username before. Have you hanged out in the Majority Report channel? Are you a regular at the Majority Report? I feel like I've seen your username before. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Not yet? Oh, okay. Maybe it was a similar username. In any case, welcome. Oh, I just joined Twitch. Gotcha. Maybe it was another burger. Another burger username. By the way, if if you want to check out the channel that I was talking about earlier, I highly recommend. Okay, like if you want to
Welcome to Gary's Economics.
If you want to get like a deep dive, okay, from like this actually just reminded me of like what we watched earlier this past weekend, The Wolf on Wall Street. Okay, so if you haven't watched The Wolf on Wall Street, I highly recommend you do. And then check out this channel, Gary's Economics, because like basically Gary's Economics is what would have happened if the Wolf on Wall Street would have stopped and would have gotten out of his dragon sickness and turned for good. Welcome, YouTube crew. BCat, Moanep, hey, welcome. I might have popped into the stream, been browsing. Hey, well, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging. So Gary's Economics, he was a former student of economics and was a former trader, by the way, and now is dedicating his, I guess his time, his energy, his content towards elevating what he calls like essentially like his big issue, which is income inequality, and how that all ties with everything from why your politicians are captured, why you're not able to own a home, why politics no longer is working, so on and so forth. Like this is a phenomenal channel if you want to kind of have a deep dive, because all his videos are kind of long. It's kind of like a podcast format. It's kind of like a video podcast chat format. So if you want to take a look at that, I highly recommend this YouTube channel. It's like good stuff. That movie is revealing, but it ends in a less than satisfactory way. True. Thanks, I'm here. A friend recommended you. Hey, well, I appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Welcome to Gary's Economics.
All right, folks, we got one more video and one more article.
Pump and dumps. Why are they legal? Today, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan are going to tell us the answer.
The whole meme coin thing is bananas.
Yeah. Why are pump and dumps legal?
Yeah. It is so bananas that people dump real money into these coins, and then you could just pump them up and sell them.
A casino or something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally
And
gambling.
people just
I see this comparison a lot, guys. Yes, it's gambling in the way you don't know if you're going to win or lose, but it's not really like a casino where there are predetermined odds. This is a rigged game.
Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I think somebody also subscribed on YouTube, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. Sorry, I can't see the YouTube subs, who subs live, but I can see on my little clock when it ticks up. So I appreciate the subs. Thank you, guys. Keep it up.
More in the likes of something like penny stocks, right? There are a bunch of boiler rooms back in the early 90s, thousands, where people would call you and they go, hey, I got this hot stock. You got to get in. You got to get. And all these people.
Like The Wolf on Wall Street. Like, we literally just saw this movie. Jon Stewart is having Elon on. I'd be mad. Like, he's actually having him on? I thought Elon backed out of that. I thought he got scared.
People, they would tout these kind of little penny stocks. You'd buy in thinking, oh, I'm going to make money. And of course, you lost a bunch of money. That's not the same thing as gambling. And meme coins are the same way. They're promoted. People buy in, not fully understanding who's got all the supply, who's scamming them on the back end. And they're told that these are legitimate operations. So I just want to be clear, like, yes.
Random Music, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Globus the Elder, you down with ADT? Yeah, you know me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, look at that. Welcome. Welcome. I sub. Thank you. I appreciate it. I see you. I saw the little thing there. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
It's gambling in the way you don't know if you're going to win or lose. It's not gambling in the way of
Joe calling Elon a genius makes sense when you hear this conversation between them. I'd be mad if John let him off easy. I'll be honest. There's been a couple of monologues that I've seen from recently from Jon Stewart that have like really kind of disappointed me. Yeah, I thought as far as Elon Musk goes, I thought that Elon Musk was too much of a baby to go on. He said that he was a paid shill or something like that. He said that Jon Stewart was a paid shill.
Of the pump and dump part is completely different.
Like musical chairs and whoever's like the last to sit.
Bernie Barbie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'd rather see him on John Oliver. Yeah, John Oliver. John Oliver hasn't lost the sauce. Okay, he's still got the juice. John Oliver still has the juice.
Sit down, loses type of thing.
And somehow or another, it's still legal.
Yeah, why?
Like that's.
I mean, the thing is, I think not too many people. I mean.
I like that he's scratching his head like, how do I justify?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Hey, real quick, why do you think it's legal, Joe Rogan? You have the richest person in the world right in front of you, Joe Rogan. Why do you think it's legal? It depends on the issues. Just don't put anyone on a pedestal to be safe. True.
The U.S. government thinking this is cool to just allow more scams. The constant answer, by the way, this is what Malay said. Nobody actually invests in these things, right? Yeah, there were billions of dollars that flew into Trump coin, but nobody actually, I mean, not even that many. There's not, who even, it's just a casino. The cope is unreal. No, there is serious money flowing into meme coins. You can, say, make all the comparisons you want, but to say, oh, there's not that many. No, there are a lot of people. The Trump meme coin brought in 192,000 brand new people into crypto that were not in it previously.
Somehow or another, it's still legal. Like that's.
Thank you for the follow, B-Re. Elon's skin is quite possibly thinner than Trump's. An impressive feat. Yep. True.
The thing is, I think not too many people. I mean, it's sort of like you go to the casino. Like if you expect to win at the casino, you're being a fool. Okay?
Right.
So I think if you expect to win at meme coins, you're being foolish. Yeah.
Now this is true. If you think you're going to win at meme coins,
meme coins are straight money laundering. Seriously, it's a freaking scam, man. It's literally buying. It's literally like penny stocks. It's literally like penny stocks. On that note, chat. Sell me this pen. Sell me this pen.
That is foolish. It's just odd to me that we're trying to make as many of these mechanisms as possible. Like, look, everyone knows the lottery is a loser game. We also know it's a de facto tax on the poor because it's disproportionately the poor who engage in the lottery because they're looking for a way out. They're desperate. And so they play these types of games. So it's just weird.
Elon is an idiot, true. Want to see a trick?
Weird for us to be like, yeah, we're just allowing more ways for your money to be siphoned off in our society, but you're stupid if you do the thing that we made legal and we're promoting all the time. It also strikes me as incredibly out of
coffees
touch
for closers.
for people who are already well off and have won at the game of life to kind of puzzle over, like, why would anyone invest in these things, in these moonshot tokens? Why would anybody put money into these dumb, like, basically scams? And the answer is because they are desperate, right? It is because
And also because literally rich people like Elon, like the president, right, want it to be legal because they benefit from it. Because it's legal pump and dump schemes. That's why they want to take money from desperate people, as CoffeeZilla is saying. They literally are preying on desperate people to do this exact thing. Yeah, so the reason, like, oh, I can't believe that's legal, bro. Well, rich people are making it so because they benefit from it. Okay, they lobby to make it legal.
They don't have, security, and they're like looking for basically a get-rich-quick scheme because they're not
literally
rich.
another
and
scam.
So people who are rich often go, what dumb people? I cannot understand why people would put money into this stuff. And it's like, yeah, because you're not in the situation. They're like looking up a mountain and they're going, how do I get up here? And then there's this guy promising a way out. And they're thinking to themselves, well, maybe, I don't know. Also, by the way, there also is a trend of financial nihilism, which says, and is encouraged by certain like powerful people, which goes, hey, the game is rigged against you anyways, so don't even bother engaging with like serious investments. You might as well roll the dice on a meme coin. So while it is easy to like scoff at people who put their money into this stuff, we have to remember who is putting their money into this stuff. It is not the Joe Rogans of the world and the Elon Musks who are going to lose everything on meme coins.
No, they're the whales, right? Like they're the ones that are holding all of it so they can dump it once they get all the rubes' freaking money, right?
Precisely the most desperate and most vulnerable people who are going to, and the most greedy. Okay, we can't forget there are lots of greedy people out there who are going to lose money, but there are a lot of vulnerable people who just fall into this stuff because they're looking for a way out.
Yeah.
But you're not going to win with meme coins. It's like but if you want, like, don't sink your life savings into a meme coin.
No, but you can gamble a little and you can ride waves and win
Wasn't this the same dude who freaking tried to pump and dump Dogecoin? Like, right? Wasn't this the same dude who literally like did the whole Dogecoin thing? A meme coin? Okay. It's so crazy to be a billionaire and still so greedy that you want all the wealth. Yeah, it's dragon sickness. It's literally dragon sickness. Right?
A little and lose a little.
If you want to have some fun, and don't come, then play with meme coins.
But if you put your family's wealth
on a meme coin
in the Hawk
at the risk of saying something bold and outrageous, don't bet the farm on a meme coin.
The weird one is the pump and dumps.
Imagine laughing at someone who's lost everything. Yep.
Here's where it gets interesting. Rogan brings up a good point. Not all these meme coins are just like decentralized, fun little Doge coins or something like that. A lot of them, there's a guy in the back of the room who like set up the whole thing, rigged it, and is going to sell as soon as you buy it. Like it's like an outright scam. So they bring this up.
Ladybug, welcome.
And I don't think the response is that great.
Like the people
happen all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And people get shocked that somebody pump and dumped. Like, what are you doing? I was hoping to dump. I was hoping to make all the money out of this. I can't believe they got me. Like,
yeah.
It's just weird that it's legal still.
Agreed.
I mean, casinos are legal.
Yeah.
And
it is
people
like a
just
casino.
lose money at casinos.
Yeah.
You know?
But you can't rig a casino like a pump and dump.
Right. it's not exactly the same, is it, when somebody is rigging a game versus there is a predetermined like chance and you're agreeing and you go into it knowing the odds, right?
You could rig a pump and dump. You know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sex trafficking and child exploitation. It's real everywhere, thriving in darkness.
Why is it legal
You
then?
could run a real pyramid scheme.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Trump and dump. Laughing at someone that lost everything, backing your meme coin. Yep. Dustin, welcome. Y'all doesn't even know how our government works. True. Just to be clear, our government is not one giant pyramid scheme, okay? Not even close. That's not what a pyramid scheme is.
What kind of answer is this? Hey, we're now allowed. By the way, they say it's still legal. Actually, pump and dumps weren't legal. They've kind of never been legal. And now we're making them de facto legal because we're not going to prosecute anyone. So this whole idea of like, why is it still legal? No, it sort of just became completely legal. And so now they're talking about, this is kind of weird. It's a little different than gambling. And then Elon's response is, well, the government's a scam. Oh, great. Aren't you the guy auditing the government?
Yeah. Supposedly,
you are
by
the
the
government.
way.
Why are you... It's so weird for the guy to be auditing the government to believe the entire government is a scam. Strange.
Well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
It's not.
What?
That's not what a freaking Ponzi scheme is. Yeah, Elon's a scam. Elon doing a job he's underqualified for. Yeah, like he's not even doing a job other than like taking like a hatchet to whatever like agencies like he deems like a problem to his businesses, right? Like a Ponzi scheme is very, very, very particular. Where you're playing with money that you don't have. Like you're basically like you're basically like playing around with like ghost money, right? Like it's a scheme to them because it relies on taxpayers and they don't believe in paying taxes. That's the part where people pay into it and then some don't use it. Yeah, the chainsaw of it. He also doesn't understand how freaking Social Security works, right? Like, at all. Or maybe he does and he just wants more for himself.
What? So, okay, we're talking about the problem of people shamelessly just siphoning money from retail investors, right? And your response is, well, not that many people do it, and if they do, it's just like gambling. And if it's not just like gambling, well, yeah, it is what it is. Shouldn't have bet the farm. And your response to that is, but the safety net for retirement is a scam too, and a bigger. What? How is that a response?
It's not.
Look, you can have problems with Social Security. It's just like it's not even close. It's not even the same world tree, brother. These are literal like. You call in, they trick you into...
Yeah, like the only problem with Social Security is that rich people don't pay enough into it. That's like the real problem with Social Security. Like the biggest issue with Social Security is that we don't tax the wealthy enough. A Ponzi scheme would benefit one guy at the top, so maybe he has plans. Exactly. It's exploiting vulnerable people who are vulnerable because they're already exploited under capitalism. True.
To investing and they just steal your money. The other thing, you're supposed to have a retirement. It's so weird. This is like one of the most important guys in determining like the path forward, right? This is This is a thought leader here. And our thought leader is saying, oh, meme coins are fine because Social Security is a bigger scam.
Let me stop you right there. Thought leader is doing a lot here.
Right? Pump and dumps are fine because your grandma's retirement plan was a scam too. It wasn't funded well. What is this thought process? That's, by the way, the end of the conversation. I know it seems like we should continue that conversation. No, they just kind of fall off on the, well, what do you mean by it's all a big Ponzi scheme? This conversation was painful, though, and it just goes into the mind of the people running the show.
That's giving Elon too much credit as the thought leader in the room with us. Maybe a thought leader when compared to, like, Joe Rogan, I guess. Maybe a thought leader compared with, like, Joe Rogan. I don't know.
I mean, they just could not care less if you guys get scammed. It's a very odd
Eric,
thing.
welcome.
And there's a false equivocation between, like, regulated gambling in Vegas. By the way, they say gambling's legal. It's not legal everywhere, okay? I know we're pushing to make sports gambling legal everywhere, but it's not yet. That's kind of important. But meme coins are. Like, they're just not they're not regulated like gambling. They're allowed like the shameless pump and dump scams are just running. It's just a strange thing to watch, I guess, because we were all told, like, well, we're going to get some actual rules of the road with crypto in this cycle. But instead of rules of the road, we just have no rules, and those are the rules of the road. That's what's very odd about this set of, the last 2 months is I thought we were just going to get a lot of regulatory clarity. That's what everyone kept telling me. Instead, the SEC just says, like, oh, well, meme coins, we're not even going to try to regulate them because we don't even think they fall under our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So we thought we were going to be told the rules, and there are no rules. But it's fine because casinos are a thing and Social Security.
Maybe they meant thought leader. I mean, he does have a bunch of kids. Yeah, but, like, he uses a lot of IVF. Over, like, I think, like, the majority of his kids are, like, through IVF, so.
He is a scam.
I'm gonna need a new headlight, right? Yeah. You got any ideas? Carparts.com. Always.
Boo. Like, the fact that this guy really refers to Social Security as a Ponzi scheme, it is just really, really, really telling. And true, he does have a botch. I can't confirm nor deny that, nor do I want to know. But what I do know is that he definitely uses a lot of IVF. He definitely uses a lot of IVF. Okay, the majority of his children are a product of IVF, which nothing wrong with using IVF. I'm just saying. We've got one more article. By the way, folks, if you have the stomach, okay, if you have the stomach, Trump is set to speak in about 2 hours to Congress, so I kind of want to see how Congress reacts to this. So I might be watching it. I'm not gonna play it on the stream because we're gonna peace out in a moment. But yeah, it's about 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to check that out, just tune in. But yeah, Psycho uses a turkey baster. Jesus, he's in it to efficiently spread his seed. Indeed, like unironically, that's literally what he believes. He literally believes in that. So yeah, he believes in having as many children as possible because population is collapsing ? But yeah, he literally believes that. Some weird that a word? Eugenistic ideology, thought process. I don't know. I'm gonna guess Republicans much clap, Democrats no clap. True. I'm hoping for some like interruptions. I'm hoping for some protests, but you know, can't really expect much. Speaker Johnson has told GOP lawmakers to skip town halls after onslaught of protests. Johnson's telling everybody to turn tail. House Speaker Johnson is encouraging Republican lawmakers to skip town halls that have been filled with protesters decrying the Trump administration's slashing of the federal government, echoing the president's claim that demonstrations are fueled by professional protesters. ? I was going to watch it, but I think it's going to be a train wreck. 100%. We're probably not going to learn anything new, to be honest. Genocidal. Yeah, we already know. He is. If not a turkey baster, then definitely one of those things used to suck snot out of baby noses. Is Ivy asked why Elon has so many sons? Probably because that's literally what he tries to go for. Like, I'm not kidding. That's literally what he said before. So that does not surprise me. Yes. Cowards indeed. The speaker's advice on Tuesday comes as GOP lawmakers often find themselves at a loss to explain the cuts led by billionaire and richest person on the planet, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency ? That are leaving federal workers suddenly out of jobs in communities from coast to coast. Democrats are jumping in to shine a bright light on what's happening. Quote, "We've seen this movie before," said Johnson. "They're professional protesters." True. So why would we give them a forum to do that right now? Yeah. Professional protesters, man. Hey, I want to know how that's going to work out for you in the midterms. Waiting for the Gremlin highlight reel. Maybe this is why he treats Vivian so terribly. Well, yeah, I mean, besides him being a just garbage human in general. Department of Government Entropy. Johnson was repeating the president's claim posted on social media on Monday that paid troublemakers are filling GOP town halls. Yeah. I wonder how long that conspiracy is going to hold up. They've convinced themselves there won't be midterms because they're doing their best to cancel voting. Yeah. Well, it certainly would fit their MO. You know, I stumbled across you live and you're all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Do I have to pay federal taxes on my troublemaker paycheck? Yeah, if you get a 1099, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pay taxes. You gotta check. Listen, you gotta check with George Soros and see how much money you've made as a professional protester. Because if you exceed the $600, you're gonna need a 1099, and yeah, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. I'm afraid. Quote, we don't need paid protesters. The American people are with us. Yeah. I mean, like, this is just like delusions upon delusions. The Republicans are finding themselves in an unusual spot, defending the deep budget cuts they have campaigned on for years, but rarely have been able to accomplish because the reductions cut into federal programs and services Americans in their districts rely on. Yeah, that's kind of the conundrum here. Trump and Musk's Doge have fired tens of thousands of federal workers illegally as they tear through the federal government in search of what they call waste, fraud, and abuse. That's not a thing. We should stop talking about that because that's not what they're doing. It's spiraling at a pace the Republicans in Congress could only imagine when the party swept control of the House, White House, and Senate. The Republicans are feeling the heat back home. Republican Roger Marshall of Kansas was confronted over the week by spirited residents questioning him about firings of veterans from the federal workforce. Marshall, too, echoed the claims of protesters. Can confirm. Marshall posted alongside... echoed the claims of paid protesters with can confirm. Marshall posted alongside Trump's comment. Yeah, sure. Now, I want to be a professional protester. Where do I sign up? AOC said she won't be there via Blue Sky. Nice. Since Trump's going to eliminate the IRS, the scenes at the town halls are reminiscent of past moments from the Obama-era healthcare battles when Tea Party Republicans fought against the Affordable Care Act, and also George Bush when Democrats and others protested his proposed change to Social Security. But more immediately, the town hall outbursts resemble the Trump-era protests of 2017 and 2018 when Republicans tried and failed to repeal Obamacare and then approved sweeping GOP tax cuts. The Democrats campaigned against them, sweeping the midterm elections and reclaiming control of the House. The Speaker, protecting his thin-as-ever majority, advises lawmakers to choose other forums, smaller community gatherings, or telephone town halls to discuss issues with voters. Quote, they're running away from the people because they know how badly the people have been hurt by what they're doing, said Democratic leader Chuck Schumer. True. Representative Greg Kasar of Texas and their chair of the Democratic Progressive Caucus said, I think many House Republicans have to make a choice about whether they want to fulfill their job title as representative, where they can have a town hall and speak honestly to their constituents, or whether they want to change their job title to Elon Musk employee. Well, newsflash, they're already Elon Musk employees for all intents and purposes. Exactly. Nobody's with him. He's increasing unemployment and decreasing jobs and starting a trade war, all while planning to steal and screaming fraud and efficiency. They want a recession. 100%. 100%. Now there's talks about compromising on the tariffs that were just enacted, which is unclear how long the tariffs are going to last, whether this is going to be an ongoing thing. Because if it is, I mean, like guaranteed if this continues, we're gonna see a recession, no doubt about it. And as Soul Life pointed out, a recession benefits rich people. Okay, tanking the economy benefits rich people. And they are doing this on purpose, right? Like, if there was any lessons to learn about 2008, is that, like, you know, instead of, like, accidentally crashing the economy, right? And, like, it just happens that rich people took advantage of it and consolidated wealth. We saw it with COVID, too, by the way. Well, they can just do it at will. They can literally try to cause the economy to crash so that rich people can benefit, because that's literally who benefits, right? Rich people have the money to weather an economic crisis and to effectively buy the dip, right? Because when they come out on the other end, they'll be super freaking wealthy, wealthier than before. As Trump and Musk bulldoze through the federal government, Republican leaders are looking to cut even further, enshrining the reductions and other changes to Medicaid, food stamps, and other programs into law as part of the budget process. They're hoping to reach some $2 trillion cuts to help finance $4.5 billion of tax breaks. In other words, they're taking your health care, your food, okay, to give it to the rich. The damage is already done in Canada. The U.S. is the world's second largest exporter of goods. Canada is the largest importer of U.S. goods, and now we import more from Mexico than China. Yeah, which incidentally, you know, we're starting a trade war with both of these countries, right? With all of them, for really no reason other than to tank the economy, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, who benefits from this? Rich people. Who's running the show? Rich people. Right? We literally have like a billionaire president, okay? Who has billionaires in his cabinet, who has the wealthiest person on the planet running around with a chainsaw, okay? A metaphorical chainsaw to the government. I mean, like, seriously. Outside groups, including Indivisible, which led powerful demonstrations during the first Trump term, are organizing in communities nationwide as voters opposed to the president's agenda seek ways to show their discontent. It has all left rank-and-file Republicans struggling to keep pace with the onslaught. Asked in recent days what they have to say to fired federal workers, the GOP lawmakers have not always had a ready response. No pain, no gain. Cool. So go F yourselves is really what this is. Marshall, the senator from Kansas, said voters understand the U.S. government is running a nearly $2 trillion deficit, piling onto the debt load, and changes need to be made. Yeah, like, again, if you're actually interested about dealing with this, right? Which they're not. They're not being serious about this. But if they were, they would be taxing the rich, okay? Otherwise, anything that comes out of their mouth is worthless. But we're doing a trade war light with China. It'll shift the U.S. back to importing from them. It's very weird. I think a lot of people understand that there's going to be some short-term pain for the opportunity of long-term gain. I think people overall are happy to see the cut in the federal spending. No, that's not literally. Yes, people are happy that their food benefits, the things that feed them, are no longer. People are happy that they can no longer access healthcare services that they had previously. Yeah, very happy about that. Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming said she's supportive of Musk and his team, but I still feel sorry for people who are losing their jobs. Okay, but who's doing that? Like, this is so, like, man, like, we're really, like, reaching, like, 1984 levels, right? Like, I feel sorry for the people who are losing their jobs, but also, like, I support the very thing that's causing this. Her message to those fired workers was to go F yourselves. Think about other Americans who are also struggling to get by. Oh, well, thanks. You've got to think about people who are paying for all this government. She said, we have too much government. No, we don't. Question mark. Republican Senator Rick Scott, also incidentally, one of the biggest fraudsters for Medicaid, said, quote, that's what President Trump got elected to do. Oh, yeah, you got fired? Well, someone else has it worse than you, so go F yourself. Exactly. Asked about his message to those who have been fired and are out of work, Scott said, I'll do everything I can to be helpful to them. Like, support the very administration that's causing them to be fired? Like, this is so, like, wild. Like, seriously, people, wake the F up, right? Like, this is what your representatives, your senators, your Congress people are telling, are talking about American citizens, okay? They're literally telling you to go F yourself, okay? This is tactic abusers employ. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It's worse for others. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Representative Steve Womack of Arkansas said he supports Doge as a concept. What? If you support Doge as a concept, you would be doing your job as a representative, right? And asking the Speaker of the House to organize the Oversight Committee and to get the correct people on the presumed job that Doge is supposed to do. So no, like I don't get this. But I think you got to be careful as to how you do it. His advice to federal workers: just be patient. Go F yourselves, right? Senator Ted Cancun Cruz of Texas said, while government funding remains important in particular areas for cancer research and the NIH, I think Elon Musk's leadership in Doge has been terrific. Go F yourself. It has been refreshing. It has been desperately needed, and I'm cheering him on for every day. Go F yourself. I don't want to do my job, says Ted Cruz. These are what these people think about you, okay? And I mean, like, this is not sustainable, folks. saying we have too much government is like saying we have too little private industry, but the whole point of privatizing government is so corporations get the tax revenue. Yep. Kiss Donald's ass more, Teddy. Oof. We are getting some strong winds. I'm going to take that opportunity to start signing off because, yeah, winds are picking up pretty strong. So I'm expecting that maybe our power may not be here in the next couple of hours. Maybe. We don't know. We'll have to see. So might as well have a good one. Hope your power stays on. Me too. Me too. Folks, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. To be fair, I don't think the American people have tried to F themselves hard enough. True. Our wind is picking up too. Canceling cancer research really pisses me off the most. To be honest, I've survived lung cancer last year and I allowed them to take part of my rib for research. Now it feels like it was all for naught. Damn, I'm sorry, Mama KD. Thank you to the YouTube crew for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ladybug. Thank you, Soul Life. Thank you, BCat. And I believe someone else was there. Moenep, thank you. Thank you to the YouTube crew. Appreciate it. Stay safe. You too, folks. Stay safe out there. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for the support, by the way. Thank you to all the new follows and to the new subs on YouTube. Thank you. And thank you for joining the community. Thank you to Random Music for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you. Your support has been phenomenal. Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Ground Level News. Welcome. I appreciate all of you guys being here. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you, Michael Hassler, and thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. We'll be back tomorrow at about 5 p.m. Eastern time. So join us then. Spread the word. Bring a friend. We're here Monday through Thursday around 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, guys. If you guys want to support the channel, again, keep liking the stream, okay? If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button, okay? Hit that follow button. It really does help us out. If you're on the YouTube, subscribe, share, and spread the word. Thank you, guys. If you want to support the channel directly, consider checking out the merch store and hitting the exclamation mark tip. Bad Lefty, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you. Again, Heat, Michael Hassler. No, thank you for being here. Ladybug, thank you. As always, folks, I'm going to watch as much of the State of the Union as possible. Yeah, well, we'll see. Thank you, B-Rian. Thank you, and welcome. Welcome. I appreciate all of you guys, as always. Please stay safe, okay? Please take care of each other. Alviana, hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, guys. See ya. Just gotta watch Daredevil instead. That's fair. Sorry, I got kicked offline. No problem. Thank you for modding, by the way. Viva Vibes. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.